let's talk about something every single one of us deals with, stress. But have you ever really stopped to think about what's actually happening inside your body when you feel that pressure? It is so much more than just a feeling of being overwhelmed. It's this powerful physical reaction that literally ripples through your entire system. You know the feeling, right? Those shaky hands before a big presentation, or your heart just hammering away as a deadline gets closer and closer. Well, those feelings, they are not just in your head. Not at all. They're actually the first signals of a super complex body-wide event. So, here's the key thing to get. Stress is a hardwired physical response. And in the short term, it can be a total lifesaver. It sharpens your focus and gets you ready to face a challenge. But what happens when that short term becomes your everyday reality? Well, that's when this ancient survival tool starts to turn against you. To really get the damage, we first have to understand the cause. Think of it like your body's own internal alarm system. When your brain senses a threat, and it doesn't care if it's a real-life lion or just an angry email from your boss, it yanks that fire alarm and unleashes a flood of powerful hormones. Okay, so here's the play-by-play. Your brain sends a signal down to your adrenal glands, these little guys sitting right on top of your kidneys. They immediately flood your system with a cocktail of stress hormones, mainly cortisol and epinephrine, which you probably know better as adrenaline. These chemicals are the messengers that put your whole body on red alert. So now let's look at what happens when this alarm system gets stuck in the on position, when it just never shuts off. Your body is in a constant state of fight or flight. This is what we call chronic stress, and it's basically like a slow, deliberate attack on your body's most important systems. We're going to start with your body's engine room, the cardiovascular system. As those stress hormones start flooding your bloodstream, they make a beeline right for your heart and your blood vessels. You're looking at a serious 1-2 punch from these hormones. First, adrenaline makes your heart beat way faster, and it jacks up your blood pressure. Over time, that can lead to hypertension. At the exact same time, cortisol can actually damage the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels. This creates the perfect setup for cholesterol plaques to build up, and that is a direct path to a higher risk of heart attack or stroke. All right, next up, we're moving to your gut. Have you ever felt butterflies in your stomach when you're nervous? Yeah, that's the brain-gut connection, live in action. Your brain is sending those stress signals straight down to your digestive system. Under chronic stress, that connection goes completely haywire. It can mess with the rhythmic contractions that move food through your system, which can lead to stuff like irritable bowel syndrome. It can also make your stomach way more sensitive to acid, giving you heartburn, and it can even change the entire ecosystem of your gut bacteria, which has huge effects on your overall health. And speaking of your gut, let's talk about the impact on your waistline. And look, it's not just about stress eating comfort food, though that's part of it. There's a very specific biological reason for this. Let's talk about the commander-in-chief here, cortisol. This hormone doesn't just make you hungry, it specifically makes you crave high-calorie, sugary foods. And here's the real kicker. It then commands your body to store that extra energy as a really nasty type of fat called visceral fat. This stuff wraps around your internal organs. It's not just sitting there, it's active fat that pumps out its own inflammatory chemicals, seriously increasing your risk for heart disease and insulin resistance. So what about your body's army, your ability to fight off sickness? Well, the relationship between stress and your immune system, it's a classic double-edged sword. See, in the short term, a quick jolt of stress hormones can actually amp up your immune system, getting it ready to fight an infection or heal a cut. But over the long haul, that constant exposure to cortisol weakens your immune cells. This leaves you way more vulnerable to every bug that's going around, and it can even slow down how fast you recover from injuries. The stuff we've talked about so far is pretty major, but the impact of stress goes even deeper, down to the microscopic level. In fact, it might actually be aging you from the inside out. Okay, let's talk about something called telomeres. Just think of them as the little plastic caps on the ends of your shoelaces, but for your chromosomes. Every single time a cell divides, those caps get a tiny bit shorter. And when they get too short, the cell can't divide safely anymore, and it dies. Well, research shows that chronic stress can actually speed up this shortening process. Essentially, it's pushing the fast-forward button on your body's aging clock at a cellular level. And believe me, the list does not stop there. The fallout from chronic stress shows up all over the place. It can trigger inflammatory skin conditions like acne. It can contribute to hair loss. It can cause sexual dysfunction,
lead to those awful, persistent tension headaches.
Create constant muscle tension and rigidity, especially in your neck and shoulders.
And at the end of the day, it can leave you feeling just chronically exhausted, irritable, and totally unable to focus. It's just a relentless, overwhelming assault on your well-being. Okay, I know. After hearing all of that, you might be feeling a little stressed out just listening to this. So the world isn't going to stop being stressful. What can you possibly do? Well, this is the most empowering part of the whole story. You have way more control than you think. And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. You can't always get rid of the things that cause your stress, but you absolutely can change your relationship with them. By learning to reframe stressful situations as challenges you can handle instead of threats you can't, you can fundamentally change your body's physical response. You can protect yourself. In the end, it really all comes down to how you react. Ready to support your health journey? Head over to the link in the description to find everything you need for your transformation and get an exclusive discount on your order.